Let me tell you a story. I had just started my NEET preparation. I was in 11th grade and the first mock test was announced. Everyone was stressed, everyone was in panic, especially people like me. I had not opened my NCRT even once, and I had to complete 8 chapters of bio, 4 chapters of physics, and 4 chapters of chemistry in just 3 days. It looked like an impossible task, and it was. Even after staying up till late, drinking cups of coffee, nothing helped me, and I was blank on the day of the exam. So I decided to do something about it. I decided to peep in my friend's paper. I copied as many answers as I could, and when the results came, I got very low marks. I had gotten 280 marks. And fast forward to 2 years later, just 2 days before NEET, I had given another mock test, and this was the mock test of Alan. And this one was special because I had scored 690 out of 720, and I had solved that mock test in just 2 hours. So, how did I go from point A to point B? Well, it was not just two distinct points and not just two distinct events, but it was an entire journey where I gave countless number of tests, and my marks in these mock tests slowly gradually started improving as my preparation got better and as I got an idea on how to solve mock tests. Hello everyone, I am Tanmay Bhandari and I'm a final year MBBS student at BJMC Pune. I scored an All India rank of 2K in my NEET, and in this video I'm going to give you the secret 3-step framework in order to maximize your mock test and score more in your mock test so that ultimately you can bag a higher rank so that you can get your dream college. At this point of time, I can confidently say that I was not the smartest person in my coaching class, nor was I the most hardworking, but I had cracked the pattern of the exam. I had cracked how to solve MCQs. I had cracked how to stay calm under pressure, and I had cracked a right strategy that would help me score 690 marks in my last mock test that I gave before NEET. Let's start off with a few basic questions. How often should I give a mock test? So you should start off by giving a mock test every month. Even if your preparation is not adequate in the initial few months, you need to have the habit of sitting in one place for 3 hours without looking at your phone, without getting distracted, without feeling sleepy, or without having the urge to go to the washroom. So the first 6 mock tests which you give in the first 6 months are just gonna be for you to get a feel about the exam and about the pattern of the exam and how questions are asked. There is one universal rule that I'm telling you in the beginning. You will not study for any of these mock tests. Whether it is your first mock test or it is your last one, you are not gonna study for them. But one thing that you are going to do for every single mock test is you are going to make a solutions book for physics. In that solution book, you will write solutions to each and every question, and those solutions are going to be detailed. You are going to sit down with a bunch of like-minded people after every single exam, and you need to make a promise to me right now. This is an actionable step that you will not go home without discussing your paper with your friends after the test. After finishing your test, you just have to take a 10-minute break, freshen up, and sit down with your friends and discuss every single question and dissect it. And when it comes to physics, you need to discuss alternate solutions to each and every question. You need to discuss faster methods to solve every single question, because in your coaching class, your teachers might not teach you those hacks because they feel that those hacks don't work 100% of the times, or those hacks are much complicated than the concept. But sometimes hacks do help you reach the final answer in a shorter amount of time. So after doing that, after writing solutions and their alternative solutions in your notebook, you will move on to chemistry. In chemistry, you will write the solutions for all physical chemistry questions and understand what your weak points in organic and inorganic chemistry are. Whatever questions you've gotten wrong, you will revisit the entire concept again. And now moving on to bio. In bio, you will dissect each and every question. If it is a silly mistake, you have to go behind the psychology of what you were thinking during the exam and how you could have changed your thought process. Maybe it is stress management, maybe it is time management, maybe it is the fact that you didn't read the question right, maybe it is the fact that the question was too wrong and you missed an important fact. Whatever it is, you are going to write why you got that question wrong in the space that is given next to the question. And after every single paper, you are going to take 3 highlighters: green, yellow and orange, and the easy questions are going to be highlighted green, medium yellow and difficult orange. And when you go to revisit your earlier papers, you are going to solve the orange ones first, then green, then yellow. I would highly advise you to not look at the ready-made solutions first. First, you need to sit down with your friends, have a discussion, learn about the concept and develop your own unique way to approach the question and then look at the solution. And if you've still not understood the question, then you go back and revisit the concept, solve 2-3 similar questions, and if you've still not understood, only then will you approach your teacher. You need to be active about your learning. You can't just sit passively and expect someone to spoon feed you your answers. So now the next common question is, what test series should we join? So this entire 5 episode series that I'm doing is completely unsponsored, and I want to give you the most honest and authentic information, and that is why I am doing this. So first of all, I want you to hit the like button because it takes a lot of time and effort, especially being in final year, managing studies, my fitness and my YouTube. So a small like is really appreciated. So I had subscribed to Allen Distance Learning Program. So basically they send you question papers at your house every single month. Few of them are half syllabus tests, few of them are 11th and 12th standard separate syllabus papers, and a lot of them are full syllabus tests. So depending on your stage of your preparation, you can choose whatever questions you feel to answer. Starting May, I used to solve those papers as a question bank, but in the second half of my preparation, I used to solve these papers as a proper test, sitting for 3 hours in my room, being honest with myself, not cheating, just focusing on my paper and trying to get things right and trying to get into the habit of solving papers. And also I had joined an offline class where we used to have tests every single month, and in the last 2 months of my preparation after boards, we used to have 2 full syllabus tests every single week. So you can increase your test giving frequency once you start completing your portion, and gradually you can increase the frequency from twice a month to even once a day. You know why I like these tests so much is the fact that whenever any coaching class keeps a test, they don't have any lectures scheduled that day, and they usually give 1 day to prepare for the test. So now if you're smart enough, you will not study for the test, but you will take these 2 entire days to study one chapter properly, to slowly cover your backlogs, to start revision. So you will focus on small chunks of your portion, and hopefully by the end of it, your revision speed and efficiency will go up, and finally by the end of it, you will have revised all of your chapters, you will have covered all of your backlog, so that you are actually ready for the exam that matters, and that is your NEET exam. One thing that I would strongly advise you to do is that whatever test series you are picking, you need to make sure that the bio section in that paper is related to NCERT. When you study physics, if you know a little higher level of physics, if you have solved a few difficult questions, it helps you solve the easier questions faster. But in biology, that is not the case, because in order to get out of syllabus questions right, you will have to read junk volumes, so that is not completely effective. Another thing that you can do is you can solve PYQs. When it comes to PYQs, I had never solved past year questions or past year papers as a single mock test, whereas I used to solve past year papers and past year questions chapter wise. These past year questions hint you towards past year topics, the topics that have been tested repeatedly, and every good test series will emphasize on the topics that have been tested in the past, because these entrance exams simply work on the principle that history repeats itself. So now comes the age-old question, should I solve physics first, chemistry first, biology first, or what sequence should I attempt? So this will completely come down to trial and error, and that is why I'm telling you that you need to solve some separate mock tests at home, because when you are not being ranked, when you are not being compared against other people, it gives you an opportunity to experiment. I had tried all sorts of experiment, starting with physics first, then doing chemistry, then doing biology. Finally, I developed a strategy that actually worked for me. So सबसे पहले I used to do biology complete section. I used to do biology as fast as I could. I used to leave the long questions and I used to leave the tough questions for the end, so that I could complete my bio within 1 hour and 15 minutes. And by the end of my preparation, I could get my bio solving time within 45 minutes. Then I used to move on to chemistry. I used to solve all chemistry questions that I could easily in half an hour. And then I used to go on to physics. For physics, I used to solve the easy questions, as I said, and the questions that required a longer explanation, and the questions that were numerical based or would require a lot of my time, I used to save them for later. Then I used to move back to biology and solve the difficult questions or the questions that I've not answered first. Then I used to move on to chemistry, and then I used to move on to physics again. And finally, I used to not mark 2 or 3 doubtful questions, so that if I've got extra time in my test, I can just think about them, and if anything clicks me, I can mark them. So this used to be my strategy. Another hack that my bio teacher had told me is that when in doubt, mark B. Whenever I wanted to do a tukka for any question, I used to mark B, because most of the difficult questions have their answer as B, and it gives you a higher probability of getting an answer correct. Now let me tell you a simple calculation. If you know how to eliminate answers and you've eliminated one option, and if you have to choose out of three, then I take a 50-50 chance. If I know a little bit about that question and if I have a stronger gut feeling, I go towards that answer, or I just skip that answer. But when I have eliminated two options, I definitely mark the answer. If it is by gambling, if it is by a little bit of prediction, but I do mark the answer where I have eliminated two options. Before I end this video, I want to tell you guys that you are your only competition. You don't have to compete with anyone else, and you don't have to make the mistake of studying the entire portion before a test. No one is going to judge you for your marks, and if you want, you can show this video to your parents also, so that they understand that mock tests are not real tests and anything can happen on the day of NEET. So please ask them to trust you, and if any parent is watching this, please trust your children, trust what they are doing, and do not pressurize them when it comes to mock tests. I will see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. Peace.